Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we're going to begin the funeral service of Maia Kicklighter Korman. Rabbi Andrea London from Beth Emet, the Free Synagogue, will be officiating. Once again, we welcome those of you who are joining us via live stream, and for those of you who are here, please just take a moment to be sure that your cell phones have been set to the quiet or off mode, not to disturb the sacred funeral ceremony.
I know that all of us are at a loss for words at this tragic moment. But we come together to remember Maia, to speak about the wonderful life that she lived in her short 29 years on this earth, for her creativity, her brilliance, her insight, her compassion and love. Maia was really an extraordinary person. And the grief that her family and all that knew and loved her is deep and profound. But we gather to honor her, to surround her family with our love and our support at this difficult time. Can there be a lament greater than for a young life lost? In the depths of grief and despair, O God, keep us strong so that we may help the stricken to regain strength. Help us to support them as they ask the inevitable questions. We grieve for what might have been, for joys unrealized, for tasks undone, for hopes thwarted, for growth arrested, for love blighted, for challenges unmet. Help us to bring consolation to the bereaved. Help us to raise them from the depths of sorrow slowly, lovingly. Help us to lead them from the night of desolation to the dawn of another day. Then the memory of their beloved Maia will be able to return gently, peacefully to their hearts. May Maia's memory live among them and all of us, allaying our grief, instructing us in the ways of living, and helping us to find meaning in the mystery of eternal life. God, we pray that you will be with us and teach us to be with Maia's family. This time of grief, we listen to the words of our sacred scriptures, to the Psalms. Adonai roi lo echsar binoteshi arbitzeni, al mei menachoti nahaleni, nafshi yeshovev yancheni v'maglei tzedek lema'an shemo. I invite you to join me in the English of the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I'm now going to take this time to eulogize Maia, to share stories about her life, to remember and honor her at this time. I'd like to begin with her father, Jeffrey Korman.
Oh, wow. Glad I got to hug so many of you. It'd just be hard to just be looking at you without having had a chance to hug first and hug later and hug in the future. This is so hard for all of us, And I thank you, people here, people on Zoom, for supporting me and Ruka and Rafi and Andrian and all our family. We all appreciate helping each other at this unbelievable, unbearable time. So many people who contacted me spoke. Is this all? Everybody can hear me? I didn't think to ask that. Okay. The people I Okay. Is this? Sorry. Okay. So many people contact me. I don't know how amazingly, through a lot of her friends, spread the word so fast, but I had a lot of people texting, calling, FaceTiming, and same words. I mean, she was always her. And the same words I heard over and over were, what a unique, caring, and accepting friend she was. How talented, creative, beautiful, expressive, fun, funny Maia was. Many said they'll never have another friend like her. She was always such a shining light. And she was also always a fighter and, real counter puncher for whatever life threw at her. I think most or all of you know that she struggled with bipolar, a mood regulation disorder, and PTSD from the many traumas she experienced starting preteen and including our family losses, obviously including Keisha, Noah, and her longtime friends know, her soulmate, Willis. We all lost them, pretty fast together. Also, most of you, if not all of you, know that music was such a big part of her life. And starting to look through some of her journals, she talks a lot about how it was the thing that made things okay. Was the music she listened to, which was always incredible discoveries, and I know she turned on a lot of people to a lot of different music, art, cultural things that she discovered and shared generously. I feel good, and I know she felt good, that in her aspirations as a singer-songwriter, composer, whatever, that she got to the level in last summer that she was performing at Shuba's Tavern, which featured at Shuba's Tavern. I know Stella was part of that, and that was a big moment, and I feel good that, for whatever it means, that she got to that point. Shuba's Tavern, it was particularly important because when she was a teenager and other troubling things were going on, our escape together was to go to listen to concerts. And that was kind of our thing we shared, and a thing that was an escape and a fun time. And two of her favorite artists, that was a big deal when we saw them at Shuba's Tavern when they were in town. And so much of a connection. So when she was walking in there with her name on the door, it was really, really big for her. And just a little more about the artists. So Kevin Devine and John from Straight Light Run, probably somebody can tell me John who. But when Kevin came around and she was so excited, 14 years old or something like that, and he stopped and he goes, "I know you," to her. And she, as a fan, had been corresponding with him on Facebook or whatever it was at that time. And he quoted back to her some of the things she had written to him. So that was a big deal. And then on her 16th birthday, Straight Light, no, I can't remember if it was Straight Light Runner or another band of the same artist that she loved back then. I can't remember even how he knew. Oh no, we had seen him at a thing earlier, and at Reggie's Rock Lounge up in the bookstore, and I had mentioned it was her birthday, and so he said pick a song, and he sang to her in the bookstore, and then when he performed that night, that was for a record signing kind of thing, and then when he performed that night, he called her up onto stage on her 16th birthday, and they gave her a birthday gift, and Shuba sang happy birthday to her at 16. So all that's somewhat to say, like, it was a big deal that she had the Shuba's Tavern performance, and she felt very good about that performance. Sometimes she'd come back, and I'd ask her, like, how do you think that went? And she'd say, well, I didn't throw up on myself. But this time she said, no, I enjoyed myself. I feel good about that performance, and I enjoyed myself. And, I don't remember her saying that before that, so glad that she had that. A totally lesser-known aspect about Maia that some of you know, but most don't, was that she was also very athletic. She wasn't that interested in sports, but when she was growing up, she played tough. Basketball, soccer, like those dance exercise classes, Pilates, even, and this was kind of touching to me because it was kind of what I might have been doing with Noah, that she said, Dad, let's start going to the gym, and we both joined EA, or maybe we were already members, I don't remember, but we'd start going over to EAC, and she literally said, let's shoot baskets and lift weights. And we did that for a while, as well as lots of long walks. Maia, for everybody who know, Maia was always Maia from the beginning to the end. She was Maia. She could not pretend to be somebody else. Drawing, writing, composing, singing, joking. And, wait, I'm sorry. And going back another long time story that many of you know, that she always loved cats. Cats were such a big deal, and when she was 2, she started drawing cats, and she was so into these drawing the cats that her elementary school teacher said that there would be kids crowding around the table watching her drawing cats from the beginning of elementary school. And when she was 2, she said, I want a cat. And Keisha was wiser about that. And she said, when you're able to take care of it, we'll get a cat. We'll get you a cat at 10. And she seemed happy to know she'd be getting a cat. And we thought that'd be it for 8 years. But every day for over 7 years, she said, when am I getting my cat? She was so sensitive, aware. I feel like she always saw more and felt more and heard more than most people. From an early age, we'd go for walks together, and early on, I don't know, this is very young, she said, this is a little thing, but I think it kind of tells you a lot, I hope. Dad, look at the tree. And I go, trees are pretty. That's a pretty tree. Just like that. And she goes, no, Dad, look at the way the light's hitting that branch. And it looked, and it's like, yeah, that was something special. I see Gail nodding because I know you relate to that. So I have some stories to share, and we'll see if I can keep it together. So this is storytelling time. When she was maybe 3 years old, and we had joined Beth Emet, so that's 94 or something, so I think 3 years old, and we went to a cultural night, not realizing it was really mostly older members having, from the Eastern European Jewish culture, having stories like Tevye stories and music, and so it was a nice evening, but it wasn't really for, we thought we were coming to something appropriate for a 3 and 5 year old. But there we were, and the music came on, and Maia started dancing, not like a little kid jumping around, but really looked like she knew what she was doing. And a woman came over to Keisha and said, I think that's great the way you have her going to school to learn her culture, learn and embrace her culture. So Keisha kind of went like, made a face, and we got back home and we said, Maia, how did you know how to do that dance? And she said, Sarah taught me. Who's Sarah? She's the old Jewish lady that sleeps on my floor. And it said, okay. And then we said, are there others in the house? And we said, she goes, oh yeah, there's the twins in Noah's room. And I said, Keisha and I then played detective. You stay here, you go there. We interviewed them both to try to see, without them cheating, whether their stories matched, and they did. I said, Noah, are there spirits in this house? Or ghosts? I don't remember what we said. And he goes, oh yeah, there's way more ghosts than people living here. And he said, like the twins in my room. And I go, really? Oh yeah, Crudio and Chromio. Yeah, they're cool. They're a little mischievous, especially Crudio. He's the one who, and at this point is like, 4 or 5. And he said, he's the one who wrapped my shoelace around the pedal. I wouldn't fall off my bike. But this is a more serious one, but I think many people know, especially her friends, how amazingly she dealt with our crises and was cool and seemed to know what to do. Like the worse things were and the more pressure there was on the moment, she was the one who knew what to do. I've told this story before, but when I had the day I had my first stroke, I owe my life to her, so it's just too crazy that we're here. But we were overdue to buy her a new mattress, and I knew where we were going, but when I got in the car and started to drive, I had total blank, and it wasn't coming to me where we were going or how to get there. And so it's, Dad, we don't have to go now. No, we've been talking about doing this. And then I drove further, and apparently she saw me do this. And then she asked me something, and my speech, I don't remember it that way, but she said my speech wasn't right. And then I said, she goes, we should go there. There's an emergency room over at Weiss, 3 blocks away. How she knew that, we didn't live there yet, but somehow she knew where the nearest emergency room was. Kind of a Maia thing, I think. And she said, no, we really should go to the emergency room. No, we should go to the store. And we got to the store, and as I got out, I lost my balance, but my hand caught myself on the car. She said, no, I can't drive. Well, you can still drive. We're going right now to the ER. And we drove over to the ER, and sure enough, she was right. As we were crossing the parking lot to the ER. I collapsed on her, and she helped me the rest of the way in. They handed me a clipboard with a bunch of paperwork to fill out and said, you know, there's a wait, go sit over there. And Maya, it's so vivid in my mind, she grabbed the clipboard and kind of threw it at them and said, no, blurred speech, numb arm, losing his balance, it's happening now. And so I was getting treatment. You know, most of you know that the quicker you get treatment on a stroke, the better the outcome. So I was getting treatment 2 minutes because I heard 2 minutes after I had the stroke. I was hooked up to things and they were working on me. So my wonderful, amazing recovery from the 3 strokes, definitely a lot of thanks to her. I just want to talk a little about her bat mitzvah. I know there's a lot of people who will be sharing later stories, some kind of stories very personal to me, and earlier stories I'm trying to share here. Her Devar Torah, which was, her portion was the giving of the birthright to Jacob instead of Esau. And to me, she just told me things about that didn't really ever think that hard about it, knew the story. And when she came, and she'd prepared very well her chanting, her Hebrew, and preparing her sermon, the Devar Torah, that she apparently had been working on it and doing a nice job, but really fast the way she could. And so Keisha and I were very worried that she hadn't prepared it all the way Noah had done the way he did it, real dutifully and hard. And we didn't know that she had done anything, and we were pretty nervous that, you know, was she going to stumble? And we were reassured that they know how to do that and adjust to whatever's happening and pour in more Hebrew, less Hebrew, other people picking up parts of the service. So we were prepared for that, but we were still worried. And then comes time for her own words, and I got to do this right. She comes up, but she's this tall at that age, and she comes up and goes like this, and she goes, my Torah portion makes you wonder what the heck God was thinking. And at first it's like, oh my God, this is how it's starting? But it really made a lot of sense. She said in Sunday school, there's all the Bible heroes, and the Bible heroes are always doing the right thing, and it's very two-dimensional. But all of a sudden this was like, a wife tricking a husband to give birthright to the wrong kid, that she didn't seem, and I'm sorry I can't quote her exactly, but that didn't seem right. And then she was troubled, she said, but then she realized, oh, this is real people in these stories. It's three-dimensional, it's not two-dimensional like those Bible stories that she had learned in Sunday school. And all of a sudden it became real to her, and she realized that's what becoming a bat mitzvah was, that it was now your responsibility to figure out what the right thing to do was. So it just, for somebody just turning 13, such a deep interpretation. And she refused to work with Haima. I mean, she just refused help. Not that it's not about Haima, but she didn't get any help, which the kids usually do. And for decades from Haima, but she said, I got it. And so that was that. Another theme throughout her life that many know is that all about Japanese culture, and so much so that when Maya and I were alone together, I was reluctant to go on business trips without her. And my company was sort of like, they felt some sense of liability and responsibility. So we went to Europe together. We also, not for work, but went to India together. And when it came time to Japan, I was going to Japan. She overheard that, and she was so excited that, oh, good, I'm finally going to Japan. And I go, no, they're just not comfortable having a beautiful young woman at whatever age that was, young, just on her own wandering about Tokyo. And so I said, we'll go another time. She said, well, you got to bring me back stuff. And I go, okay. And she told me about Akihabara, the shopping district, and where the cosplay, anime, whatever those people who are totally dressed up as, you guys probably know. And so it's like, oh, this is Maya land. As soon as I hit that neighborhood, it was like, oh, totally this is real life Maya world. And I went to the first store she recommended, and there was a young woman, Chloe, also biracial British girl, kind of, some similarities, so that I felt a connection to her. And I said, so I got this daughter who loves this stuff. I have no idea what to buy her. Can you pick her out an outfit? I did not specify the price limit. And I think $400 later, there was two incredible outfits. And then she said, she had also told me there was another place to go that was good for jewelry. And so this time I was a little smarter, found my way to that store, and I said, I'd like to pick out earrings, just a pair of earrings for my daughter, but she has her style, and I wonder if you can help me pick out something appropriate. And they say, do you have a picture? And I went to my phone, I picked out a representative picture and turned it to the woman. She goes, how do you know Maya? Yeah. And that's kind of to tell you, people know she's been such a, her ever-changing mercurial social media presence that she had a follower in Japan, and who later visited us because that was such a weird connection. She actually, when she was visiting California, she flew to Chicago for a couple days. I can't remember her name. I think it's Maya, your life and our life together was such a treasure. You gave so much love to all of us, and we loved you so much, and we always will. I think that's enough stories. And now I'd like to pass the podium, the mic. Is Gail, do we have Gail next? Kim.
Good afternoon. I'm Maya's mother's sister, and so Keisha's sister. And I mean, how do you say goodbye to somebody that you didn't expect to, ever? Not in my lifetime. I did not expect that. She had so much more. We didn't even know her potential. And I always said, I know your mom's gone. I know her heart too. We have the same background. We have the same raising. I know where her quirks are. I knew where they were, and she had hers. And I said, so consider me your mom here, if you need that. If you need me, I am always here. Last summer, she needed me. I live in New Jersey. she was not raised near me, so it was a little harder to have that physical, emotional connection all the time, especially when you have your own children, and I have my sister. So when we got together, it was like, oh, I get to see my sister, I get to see the kids. But my sister and I were consuming because we were all together constantly. So it was a little harder. She goes, I need you, Aunt Kim. I said, okay, I'm going to be traveling. I'm coming to Chicago. I'll just make a trip. You need me? I'm there. We sat down. We decided to be tourists of Chicago. So I said every time I came, we did family things. I didn't have time to do the touristy things. I said, let's go take the tour of the Chicago River. Let's do that. She's like, I said, let's do it. She goes, where else do you want to go? She goes, I want to go to the aquarium. Okay, let's go to the aquarium. Where else do you want to go? I'm going to Chinatown. And I was like, I just didn't get the chance to see the bean. I was a little upset about that because I was like, I really wanted to be a tourist. I've been here like about 20 times, but I've never been a tourist here. So we had a really fantastic day, and halfway through we go, you know what? We've never spent time just the two of us because we always had the family with us, and we had everybody else to consider. So I was really happy that I was like, what do you need from me? Of course, she needed something. And I think she needed, or just needed that hug. Even if it was here, there, virtually, over the phone, a text, she just needed to know you were there. And I think she appreciated that time with everybody here, because she comes of a compilation of things, right? She's not just one stagnant thing. And when Noah passed, it was during COVID, so we really couldn't get here. So physically, it was hard. It's not impossible, but hard. So I had to make sure I was here this is my sister here. This is her legacy. This was supposed to be her perpetuating. It's done. It's done. So Jeff, you have to have more children. No, I'm joking. But if you want to. So your legacy can still live on. Your legacies can still live on. What came to mind to me with Maia was she always had a wonder about her, a wonder about curiosity of life. She never just took it as it was. She always had to kind of figure it out in her way. Even if it was a movie, a song, a play, or whatever, she might have come across a bug. And she had to wonder in her way, and it had to be, like you said, she couldn't be anybody else but Maia. She couldn't pretend. She couldn't be Katy Perry. She couldn't go and be all these other people. She had to be her. So I wrote a poem called Wonder. And just like with Noah, it just comes out real fast. I recently wrote one for Keisha because I never got a chance to do that. I wrote it 2 weeks ago because I had Keisha on my mind, her mom. So it's called Wonder. So if you ever come across a ladybug, think of me. If you ever happen on a dragonfly, think of me. If you ever stumble over a tree root, think of me. If you ever wear a bright color, think of me. If you ever measure an inchworm, think of me. If you ever look at a cloud and try to figure out what it forms, think of me. And if you're ever blessed to witness a long guitar riff that resounds in your soul, think of me. And if you ever heard a whisper in the wind and wonder, it was me all along. Missing you forever, Maia. Say hello to Keisha and Noah, for all of us here. I love your Aunt Kim. You have your Aunt Deidre, Jackie, Jordan, and Rebecca, and all the other family members, and all your Millers and your Gadsons that are all part of your ancestry. She was never alone. She always had us. The reach sometimes was far, or it was close, but when she needed it, she reached. and we all reached back. We'll miss you. But remember, she's not gone. When you see those things, those beautiful things, like you said, that one branch that caught the light in just that way, there she is. She's not gone. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Gail Samuelson to speak.
Hi, I'm Gail, Maya's aunt and Jeffrey's sister and David's sister. And I'm not as clever as Kim to write a poem, but I'd like to read one to both honor Maya's life and for Jeffrey, who's just sorry. Take a deep breath. This poem is called You Walk With Me. It's written by David Yazbek from the Full Monty. It's a song, actually. I'm not going to sing it. Is it the wind? And I should just say it's very much related to what Kim's handmade poem was. Is it the wind over my shoulder? Is it the wind that I hear gently whispering? Are you alone there in the valley? No, not alone, for you walk with me. Is it the wind there over my shoulder? Is it your voice calling quietly? Over the hilltop, down in the valley, never alone, for you walk with me. When evening falls and the air gets colder, when shadows cover the road I am following, will I be alone there in the darkness? No, not alone. I'll never be. Is it the wind there over my shoulder? Is it your voice calling quietly? Over the hilltop, down in the valley, never alone, for you walk with me. Over the hilltop, down in the valley, never alone, for you walk with me.
So Maya's friends are going to speak now. I'd like to invite Say Dyson to speak.
My name is Lindsay. Some of you guys know me as Say. I met Mai last year. In a short amount of time, she has become my big sister and a light in my life. On a full moon night, me and Mai walked to a lighthouse. The light was translucent in the water. It made me feel like Maya was also translucent in a way, because she was always able to see through everybody, whether you liked it or not. Maya, I will always look for you, and I will always look for you but beyond the stars, and I hold you in my heart so dearly, and you are truly one of my soulmates. Thank you.
This is Maya's sister, Ruka Mustafa.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all. Thank you for coming. I wish Maya can see all the faces gathered here today to know how much she's loved. I met Maya when she was 4 years old. I was her babysitter first, and later became a family. She was a very happy girl, funny, smart, very creative. Oh, She definitely wasn't boring, for sure. She loved to draw, so I always thought she would be an illustrator. We had so much fun walking down Evanston Street, Main Street, to the cookie store and candy store, going to the beach on summer holidays, going by the water. But we grew apart after I moved to California, so I missed what she was like as a teenager. I hope her friends can fill in the great memories of this period. From those missing years, a lot happened. Life, as you grow into adulthood, we all have difficult and happy memories, and hope that our happy happy moments will outweigh the difficult times. I'm very grateful that I had the chance to see and talk with Maia in this past year. I miss her already so much. Thank you all.
Now her sister Rafi will speak.
Sorry. It takes a lot of courage to live your truth out loud. And Maia was very brave and lived up to her middle name, Kicklighter. As colorful as Maia was, she had this aura about her. She's very talented, imaginative, and a very straightforward person. As an older sibling, you think you'll be able to just boss your little sisters around. Maia was not that. There was no convincing her into doing anything she didn't want to do, as you all know. She'll let you know in the moment if she's not vibing with you. She didn't hide how she felt at all. And I have had so much memories with Maia, I can't outline them all. But a couple of weeks ago, Maia came to my home and spent about a week with me. And what I thought was just us hanging out. But now I know she came to say goodbye. And thank you, Maia, for that. I will surely miss Maia. And her forgettable laugh. Everyone knows that laugh. And that smile. And everything that Maia was. But one thing I would like to say about Maya, if all her friends do remember, is Maya wasn't afraid to express herself. And I admired that so much about her. And in her favorite saying, she would always say, if you ask her, Maya, why are you doing this? She said, because I don't like to be basic. I want to put that on a t-shirt someday. While it's unfortunate we're all here today, I would like to take this opportunity to remind anyone struggling to take advantage of your resources and your support systems. I encourage you all to check on each other. To close, I like to say, don't be basic and go out and live in your truth. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Dio Seymour to speak.
So Maya was one of my best friends for a very long time. I've been trying to write a poem for Maya, but like, there's just too many words to say, too many memories, too many pictures. So I just want to share like a couple stories and memories that probably no one's heard about, just because it's like we were kids sneaking out of our house to like. I met like Maya when I was 12 at Camp Echo. We both were the worst swimmers during the swimming test. So they put us in like this youth swimming group. I think it was like called Group Red. And we both were at least 4 years older than everyone there. And she was like, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" I'm like, "I'm the other worst swimmer here." We started talking about Samurai Champloo, and we decided to just not do swimming lessons at all and just play games together. And yeah, so that's like how I met Maya. It was at Camp Echo. I'm sure like a lot of you have been there. I guess later on, I moved back to Evanston and went to ETHS, and we ended up being in like a lot of the same classes. And like Maya would like call me at like 1 a.m. and be like, "Are you having trouble sleeping?" I'd be like, "Yeah, like I have really bad insomnia." And she's like, "Do you want to go like to Golden Nugget and get like iced coffee and just like hang out?" I'm like, "I'd have to like sneak out of the house, but like that would be wonderful." So you know, like we've had this tradition for years. We've been going to like Golden Nugget, Deluxe Diner. I mean, every time I was in town, like I feel like we gotta go get iced coffee from Golden Nugget and talk about everything. And so yeah, like I don't know, I'm gonna miss you a lot. There's just like so much that I can't even like say. It's just, I'll be talking for the rest of my life about all the memories we've had. And there's a lot of people that reached out to me that couldn't be here. I just want to like say their respects to. So there's like a lot of people with me supporting you, Maya. And I guess the point of the story is like, we're just like kids walking around Chicago, like at the random hours at night, and Maya always seemed to make fear and like disappear and have like a lot of courage, and she taught me how to be brave a lot of times. Like I don't know, it just seemed like when you're with Maya, the whole world is your oyster, and nothing seemed impossible. So that's all I have to say.
I'd like to invite Nico Perez to speak.
Hello. Maya and I have been friends since high school freshman year. Compared to most of my friends, I peaked a little late in high school, which is why I was very happy when I met Maya. Instead of talking about boys and makeup and where the weekend parties are, we were just bonded over our love of anime and art. We would just hang out in her room and listen to music. And she never judged me, and she never expected anything from our friendship, which is what I really appreciated. She was kind like that, and bold. She wasn't afraid to express herself, no matter what other people think. Maya loved to sing, and she was passionate about being part of the choir. She was very smart, and she took a lot of AP classes in high school, and she downplayed it. She didn't care about labels, didn't care about what other people thought of her, but she wanted everyone to know she wasn't a nerd. We all knew how brilliant she was, and that brilliance shined in every part of her glittery being. I feel lucky to have been part of her world, because while it was oftentimes complex, it was more magic there. Maya, if you could hear us, know that you were loved and that you've touched our lives more than you could have imagined. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Emma Haynes to speak.
Okay, so I'm probably going to ramble because I've known her since 5th grade, and I would consider her my, first best friend, you know? 'Cause before her, I definitely, I had moved from California and, to Evanston in grade school, and it was definitely difficult finding friends, and she was just the first person that really stood out to me and made an effort to be my friend, so... 5th grade is definitely when our friendship was developing, and sorry. I wrote all this stuff, and it's just so... We were just inseparable for a very long period of time, to the point where, if I think about my childhood, it's either her at my house or me at her house, or us walking between them. There is rarely ever a gap between us hanging out for a long time. If she was somewhere, I was usually close behind, and like others have said, she was just so brave, and she gave me a lot of confidence that I just didn't have at the time. And because of her, I still have that confidence. I feel like we often saw each other as two sides to the same coin, where if one of us was up, the other would be down, or vice versa, and we would always kind of keep each other, balanced. We had so many inside jokes at one point that talking to other people was just difficult, because I would constantly reference things me and Maya would talk about, and they'd just be like, what are you talking about? I don't know what that is, but I feel like at times it annoyed people that we were just constantly creating all this lore and made up stuff between us. I could talk about all the awesome concerts we went to, or all the movies we saw together, all the parties we went to, or all the last minute trips we went on, but I feel like that's just way too much. Admittedly, some of my best memories with Maia are the ones where we just kind of aimlessly walk around Evanston at night, usually along the beach or down the quiet side streets, kind of just talking about nothing, but then also everything. Honestly, like picking up cool bugs we saw or whatever, or like investigating like strange anomalies, things like that. Those memories are usually what come to mind first when I think of her, and whenever it starts getting warm outside again, I usually think about those walks that we had. I think I'll cherish those more than any other material thing we may have exchanged or shared. I learned more about myself and who I want to be because of her, because of all the talks we had. And I'll always be thankful for that. And I'll always think of Maia whenever I see Lake Michigan or when I start seeing all the flowers blooming again. I wrote all this other stuff, but there's just so much that she introduced me to that I would have never known about otherwise. Even like before you could find everything on the internet, somehow she was finding all these obscure things that like, there's no way I could have figured all that stuff out. I'm just gonna go from point to point, but for whatever reason, the very first thing that came to mind when I started writing all this down was Neopets and how much time we spent on that website together, and how she was amazing at coding like guild, web pages on that site. I'm not gonna get into it, but she was great with like HTML and coding stuff, and she's like 10 years old, and I'm just like, where did you learn this? Like, how did you figure this out? I don't even know like how to get to most of these websites. Just, like I said, there's just so many things that she taught me, and I feel like I sometimes take those things for granted because they've been around me so long because of her. I don't really know what else to say, but I love you, Maia, so much. And all the people that I've met through you are amazing. And I hope that I never forget all those walks we had. And I hope that every time spring comes, I can think of you. I love you so much. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Emma. I'd like to invite Jamie Kendrick to speak.
I just want to say I'm so thankful to see all the people she's touched in her life. And just to see it in a room is really moving and special. So thank everyone for being here. I met Maia in 2005 in 6th grade. And even when it was really hard and I isolated myself, we always came back together like two ships in a port. Something I wanted to do, because it's something we always did together, was write a poem for Maia, because she always facilitated the most creative and open-minded parts of my spirit. And she brought truth out of me that scared me, and sometimes I would even be scared to spend time with her because she would call me. She had my number. She'd call me like she knew. Can't hide anything from her, and I'm so grateful for that. So This is just called Maia Korman. Korman and Kendrick in middle school lines, back to back, almost every time. I was so nervous, and you were so bright. You danced with me, you hugged me tight. And on the long nights neither of us could sleep, we'd message each other so we could meet and listen to our favorite songs, sitting on the rocks of the beach. I was so lucky. I love you, Maia. Thank you. I love you all so much.
I'd like to invite Heron Gallagher to speak.
I don't really have that. I'm not really very good at speaking, so I'm trying to find where to start. Yeah. In the past few days, I've considered how I can be a better friend to others in the way Maia has been to me. After this tragedy occurred, I spoke to a lot of the friends she connected me to, and we all had the same opinion. It's that she was someone I could talk to that wouldn't judge me, or that I could talk to about almost anything. She would light up in any room she walked into with an angelic and otherworldly presence. Maia gave all she had to the people she loved the most. When I met her back in 2019, we connected almost instantly. We were inseparable. We would spend hours making art and stay up until the sun rose, sharing music and talking about our esoteric interests. She was someone I knew I would have for a long time. Maia was my biggest cheerleader. She always supported my art. She was the one who got me outside on a good day, on a nice day. And yeah, right before I got the news about her passing, I would be locking myself inside. And when the weather was nice out, I would just think, I wish Maia was here to get me out. I felt like she really cared about me. I'm mourning the best friend I lost, but I continue to cherish the memories that I had with her. Maia taught me to be the most genuine version of myself, to dress like the main character, to share and give what I can with those I hold dear to me, to share and give what I can. Oh, I read that already, sorry. To tell people I love them every time we depart, because it could be the last time you see their face. I wish I could say more, but my mind is blank right now. There's so much stuff I want to say about Maia that, yeah, I would be up here. We'd all probably also have to go to, we'd have to visit our own funerals. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for all you've done for me, Maia. I'm gonna try to carry on what she left, the memories she left with me. Yes.
I'd like to invite Stella Wong to speak.
Me and Maya started off as roommates in 2020, where we lived together with 2 other people. We would just like hang out at our apartments. When the time when she's not in Evanston, like we'll always just hang out at the house together. And then she'll put me on to like so many good shows, animes, and listen to music. And like, she loved Jeanette Jackson. On the way here, we're like listening to her favorite songs. And then we become friends after she moved out of the house. And then she will come over to my house every weekend. We'll hang out, and then we start making music together. I only knew Maya for like 3 years, but she ended up becoming my best friend, and we will always do stuff. So we'll like walk outside and like do shows together. I think she really wanted to release some of the music projects that we didn't have time to release them. Maya, we always say that you belong to the angel planet. You're a goddess, an angel, the kindest and the sweetest soul, most talented and the coolest person ever. You're so beautiful. Your existence is otherworldly, dreamy, and blessing. You show me another side of the universe that I only imagine in a movie. Your love was so pure and innocent. You have the simplest joy for everything, and you touch everyone's heart that you encountered with. You're giving, selfless, and genuine. The least judgmental person and the most understanding soul. You're tapped into a magical realm that's filled with different type of puppies, kittens, dinosaurs, and princess. You were so excited to show me your drawings every time, and they amaze me every time. I'm amazed by your talent. You're able to come up with the most beautiful songs in one take or freestyle. Like your mom said, your words are poetry. They're magical and powerful. You created your own style of music that no other ones can do. You call it heart wave because the music is the tempo of the heartbeat. Last year, we got to work on a project together. You produced some of them and recorded all of them for us. You encouraged me to make music and believed in me and encouraged me to come up with my own lyrics. I can feel our connections through our music. We discovered our own universe together. Other times, I felt like you took me to your universe. And I wish I can just go back to those moments and tell you how precious you are. Making music with you will forever be one of the most beautiful things that ever happened to my life. You were the best female rapper ever and the most underrated. No one have the swag like you. You're a legend, the one and only. I'm glad I got to spend the past 3 years with you. Start from being roommates to being friends, to become music partners, to become best friends. My encounter with you was a miracle. Thank you for blessing my life with your love and your superpower. I always knew you were an angel. Thank you for coming down to my life for a short time. I will sing to you. I love you forever, and I'll see you in my dreams. Thank you.
glasses. Beautiful and heartfelt memories of someone who was, as Rafi told us, in her own words, anything but basic. The clothes she wore, how she did her makeup, how she spoke with people, her art, her music. Nothing about Maia Korman was basic. She was quick-witted and funny, and as we've heard, had a big social media presence that reached all the way to Japan, to the woman who couldn't believe that Jeff was Maia's father. Maia had a style and flair to her, a real charisma. On a trip to Cuba, she and Jeff walked into a fancy hotel in Havana, and no one stopped them because she looked like she was a star who was staying there. Wherever they walked when they were in Cuba, kids would high-five her. Maia had an incredibly unique way of looking at the world. When her kindergarten teacher told her she shouldn't put stickers all over the boys who sat at her table, Maia responded that she only put stickers on the parts of their body that move when they breathe, not all over. Maia was incredibly brilliant and never was one to color within the lines. She had a teacher who told Jeff and Keisha that Maia was a good writer, but she needed to follow the prompts the teacher gave the class. Maia told Jeff and Keisha that the questions she answered were better than what the teacher had asked, and she was right. Maia was an incredibly loving person. As we've heard so much from her friends and her family, she was open and accepting and encouraging. She brought out the best in people. She had so many people, as we've heard from today, who considered her to be a special friend and were so appreciative of the support she gave them. When people were having a hard time figuring out their lives, their identity, their sexuality, or were in crisis, Maia was the one they would turn to. Her friends also, as we've heard today, appreciated her for how she introduced them to new music and art. At her bat mitzvah party, when there was an open mic, all of her friends spoke about this special quality of Maia's. And Jeff spoke so amazingly about how Maia took care of him during his stroke, knowing exactly what to do. Maia was an athlete, as we heard, who didn't necessarily love the sports, but liked the competition. But the Korman family in particular really enjoyed going hiking together. They enjoyed many family vacations in national parks. From the time Maia was very little, she could hike forever. As Jeff told us a story about Maia's bat mitzvah, what she spoke about, seeing the characters in the Torah not as flat and two-dimensional heroes that she had grown up learning about, but understanding their foibles, understanding that they were not perfect, and that God couldn't tell people what to do. We all have free will and have to make our own choices. Wise, insightful, and quintessentially Maia. Maia, too, as we know, was a complicated person. She had her challenges, struggles with her mental health. And despite participating in various treatment programs and having good doctors and medications, it wasn't enough for her. As Rafi said, it's important, if we are struggling, to reach out to others for help, whether they be friends or family, medical professionals, anybody, that reaching out is a sign of strength, not one of weakness. But despite all the reaching out that Maia did, and despite all the incredible love, I mean, how much love is in this room right now for Maia, and support and care? Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for Maia. Today, as we gather, though, we are so appreciative of her uniqueness, her compassion, her talent, and our hearts are broken today. And they go out in particular to her family, to Jeff and Ruka and Rafi, her aunts and uncles and cousins. The other day when Jeff and I were sitting together and talking, he remembered a story called Footprints in the Sand. The story about God walking beside us as we walk in our lives. And somebody then was going through a hard time, though, and noticed that the footprints that this person thought should be beside them were gone. And they turned to God and said, "Where are you now?" And God said, "There are only one set of footprints, mine, because at that time I was carrying you." There's a lot for us to carry in our hearts now. May we carry Jeff and Ruka and Rafi. And may there be many footprints in the sand of all of us who are surrounding them with our love and with our care. We've spent this last amount of time sharing these beautiful stories. May we continue to do so. Maia had a profound impact on people's lives, and for all this we are tremendously grateful. But we can't escape the fact that her life was too short. Zirchana Livracha. As Maia's life was truly a blessing, we pray that her memory will continue to bless us as we share the stories of her life. And as we hear her voice and feel her encouragement to be the best that we can be and to never, ever be basic. We now have a music video that we're going to play. אל מלא רחמים שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה. אם קדושים וטהורים כזוהר כי המזהירים את נשמת מאיה בת יצחק וקישה, שהלכה לעולמה. בעל הרחמים יסיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, יצרור בתורה החיים את נשמתה, אדוני הוא נחלתה. ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence. To Maia Kicklighter Korman, daughter of Jeffrey and Keisha, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. We're now going to conclude our service with a recitation of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shmei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach rute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayachon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ulalmei al Maia, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei d'kudusha b'ruichu. Le'elat min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabbah min Shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. O God, who makes peace in places far beyond our knowing or understanding, send peace to all of us who mourn and comfort to the bereaved among us, as together we say, Amen.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the service here at the chapel. The family will be together at the Korman residence at 1416 Hinman Avenue, Unit 5 in Evanston. They'll be together till 8 p.m. Memorial contributions to thresholds would be appreciated. For those of you that are here in the chapel, that information is on the service folder. For those of you who are joining us online, all the information can be found on our website. This time I ask everyone to please rise and stand in place as the family and the pallbearers escort Maia from the chapel. Then you may return to your cars. Please rise.
Don't be so wide-eyed, I want to rob you blind. I still hate supposed to be doing